All right, good morning, everybody. Everything new under the sun. Today, I want to talk about the mark of the beast, and some opinions have changed on the subject of the mark of the beast. Um, and I don't know if you'll be surprised or not. Probably not, but I want to talk through them. So here's a slide I had before. I've shifted the arrows as I've always mentioned. I don't know exactly when the Lord's going to return. I don't know exactly when the 7 year tribulation or 7 year period starts, the tribulation and the great tribulation. I don't know exactly when that starts. A number of us suspect that it's going to start maybe this year, anytime now. And things are certainly getting worse, as you know. Totalitarian government control, all this is coming down on us, and I think really that's the start of it. We all could be wrong. Maybe this is just passing, and we have another 10 years to go. Maybe it happens like the Spanish flu in 1918, and we get over it in a year or two, and we go back to normal. But with everything else on the timeline, I suggest that that's not the case. So this was my original steps to the mark of the beast. First, I thought there had to be economic trouble, and I still believe this, and we certainly are in economic trouble. The supply chain is in absolute I won't say collapse yet, but certainly if you watched other videos, there's lots of store shelves empty. Lots of other people, preppers, etc., have done lots of videos on store shelves being empty. The backup of ships in the ports, um, the shutdown of ports because of particular requirements on the workers. You know what I'm talking about. This is happening in the U.S. and China. A lot of trouble. And of course, Taiwan, the Straits of Taiwan, and you're fighting China as it relates to Taiwan, and they could easily use their trade with the U.S. To really make the U.S. back off supporting Taiwan in their interests in taking Taiwan over. Taiwan currently makes a large percentage of the chips used in vehicles, computer chips, computers, all sorts of things. They're a big leader in chips of all sorts, and there's massive chip shortages. If China were to take it over, there could be even more chip shortages, and vehicles not being able to be repaired. Your computer, maybe no new computers, no new technological devices. Even Apple has basically slowed down on new improvements to the iPhone because of chip shortages. We're going to be talking about a different kind of chip today, though. So I said interest rates go to zero. I think this is still coming. They will. The economic trouble is happening. Inflation is increasing significantly. There's all sorts of economic trouble. If you've listened to anybody on the economic side, the calls for prepping and basically the big collapse are starting to come out. Government restricts use of cash, then outlaws it because it has to. The money has to stay in the bank. In order for the banks to stay alive, they don't want you to have to pull cash out. They want you to leave your cash with them and use your card because they can then play with your cash. But of course, the other reason is the big health emergency that's happening right now. Right, gotta get rid of cash because cash spreads. You know what, right? So the end result is that the government's going to get rid of cash altogether. That solves a number of issues. It solves health issues, it solves money laundering, fraud, a lot of criminal activity. It solves if they would only do that. And I believe a government is coming that would do that. So that's what I believed was the steps to the mark of the beast. It's slightly changed now because I think there's a much bigger reason, better reason, and more useful reason for them to push us into this electronic digital money system. Let's read this Revelation 13. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake like a dragon, as a dragon, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. A miraculous healing of this beast. Health. It's a health thing, a health sign, symbol. Will everybody trust him when he has healed himself, that he can also heal others and keep others healthy and safe? And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image of the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the beast should be killed. Now my question is, well, let's keep reading. It goes on, verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, everybody, to receive a mark in their right hand, or forehead, and that no man might buy or sell. You won't be able to buy or sell. You won't be able to go into stores. You won't be able to have a store and sell anything unless you have this mark in your right hand or forehead. We're not there yet. We're getting there. I think the lead up is there. Save he that have the mark. So if you have the mark, you can buy or sell. What are they doing in Australia? The leaders have said, if you don't get, you know what, we're going to cut you out of the economy. You will not be part of the economy. What does that mean? You won't be able to buy or sell. You won't be able to make money. You won't be able to use money because you won't be able to go into stores, etc. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is number of man, and his number is 666. So 666. So you can't get much more plain as day than that. Everybody, he's going to cause everybody to take it. And if you don't take it, you're going to be put to death, right? Killed. It's going to be in your right hand or forehead. And it's going to limit your buying and selling. And if you don't have it, you aren't going to be able to buy or sell. Even if you have it, they're going to be able to switch you off. If you're not a good citizen, if you don't have a good credit score, this is what they do in China right now with their apps on their phones. They have apps on their phones, and if you're saying something against the government, they limit your ability to buy train tickets, plane tickets. What are they doing now in Canada? Just related to their requirements for, you know what? I am not able to fly. I am not able to buy a train ticket. I am not able to go on a marine vehicle. I'm still allowed to drive a car. But all the rules are effectively already in place. All they need is a worldwide system to manage this, because right now the current passports are regional. So every province in Canada has their own, or most of them have their own version of the passport. Every country has a different version, and now countries have to come to agreement on what are they going to accept. Are they going to accept this passport, you know what I mean, or that passport? There needs to be an international standard that airlines, etc., countries will recognize, so that they know that you have proof of, you know what, who you are, that you have or are allowed to travel. So we need a global system, a universally accepted system that everybody adheres to, and a system that you can't, that there can't be any fraudulent activities with. It needs to be very secure, and it needs to be something more than a piece of paper or a card that you carry around, because you can manufacture them. In Russia, for example, you can buy a passport, you know what, in Russia for 32 pounds. I don't know what it is, $60 or something. I don't know if that number is exactly correct, but you can buy a passport as needed, a fraudulent one, obviously, but you can buy one and participate in the economy. So they need to get around that. They need to get around a piece of paper or something that can be copied or created falsely, right? So what's the solution? Well, we've heard about it for years, but microchips. So what you see there is an example of a microchip about the size of a grain of rice, a long grain of rice. Now, in an article from 2017, it said a vending machine company based in River Falls, Wisconsin, announced that it's offering to implant chips in its employees' hands. Three Square Market says the $300 chip, which is probably cheaper now, will allow workers to open doors, log into computers, and even purchase food. So participate in society, participate in the economy of the society, be able to maybe get into locked places, your house, the ability to purchase food so you can live. This is what, now this is only canteen food, obviously, at the company, but you can see that you can extrapolate from there, obviously. And that's from the BBC. So it's going to go into your, and now this is showing, if this, I don't know if this image is reversed or whatever, this is showing the left hand in the bottom image there. But the Bible says right hand or forehead. When the official mark of the beast comes out, it's going to be right hand or forehead. What is it used for? Well, it's used to prove identity. It's used to link to medical history, and it's used for tracking location. So they have been using this for years and years on animals. All veterinary clinics scan animals first to see if there's a chip in there. Usually it goes around the neck area, as I understand. And they always scan for them because it links back. It provides an ID which goes into a database, which links back to the owner of the animal, maybe the medical history. It allows you to track and trace where an animal got to. If someone has a scanner, they can tell where it came from, who the owners are, where they live. This is what it's used for in animals. This is also what it's used for in people as well. Here's my change in thought. I believe it came due to an economic collapse. I think that economic collapse is still coming. But what is the better reason? What is the more usable reason to implement and to put upon society such a system? Well, we've already been trained and conditioned the world over to respond to a health emergency, and generally to take something, and not only that, but to agree to take something and have a passport so you can prove you did something so that you can move around and participate in the economy. So a health emergency. This is even better than economic collapse, but I think they happen at the same time. You look at the number, the thousands, hundreds of thousands of workers in the U.S. who are about to quit their jobs because of requirements coming down the pipe shortly, and they're not willing to comply. That's going to gut society of hundreds of thousands of workers, and that's going to cause even more trouble in the supply chain, which is already in trouble. As well in Quebec, there's a deadline of November 15th for medical workers, hospital workers to fulfill requirements, if you know what I mean. The deadline was October 15th originally, and people did not comply. The government of Quebec said, you know what, this is going to lead to catastrophe with this many people leaving their jobs. We're going to push that date to November 15th, right? As if all those people all of a sudden are going to say, oh, great, I have another month, I'm going to comply, right? So this is a health emergency of the government's own creation, effectively, by forcing it and firing or having people resign because they are not interested, right? So this is now of the government's own making, literally. It literally is, and we're seeing this in the U.S. and Canada, where we're apparently in the middle of a massive shortage of workers and emergency, and we're going to allow hundreds of thousands of people to quit their jobs or fire them because we put some other requirements on them now. You know, it's one thing to put this requirement on them after the emergency is passed, but during only exacerbates the issues at the hospitals, right? So I think a one world leader is going to come into power, and he's going to say, you know what, we need a global solution for this. We need a passport that is recognized globally in all countries, something that you can't fake because lots of countries have issues with that, something that every country recognizes, every medical agency recognizes and can confirm. We need a global database. We've already proven worldwide that the world is ready to comply. Generally speaking, the world is ready, and we have a precedent. All it takes is a health emergency. And so, what does it do? Well, instead of all these, paper passports the way it used to be, we're going to have maybe a chip in your right-handed forehead, a mark of the beast. And I'm sure YouTube is going to give me trouble for this video. So, what does the world government? What do countries want to do? They want to, especially in Australia, with the requirement to take geotagged photos if you're in your 2-week waiting period. You need to prove where you are, so you take a photo of yourself. It's geotagged with a latitude and longitude, so the authorities know exactly where you are. You can prove it with a geotagged photo, right? So this mark of the beast system is going to allow to locate you. They use this in China already. They use cell phones to track and locate people. They know where people are. No longer do you need an ankle bracelet to understand where you are. They just track them on your cell phone now, because everybody has a cell phone. Cell phones are ubiquitous. Even I will be getting a cell phone soon. Why? Because I need two-factor authentication for services like Rumble, for example. Even Twitter now is requiring two-factor authentication. You need a cell phone basically to get a text message to confirm your identity, because they want to ping back, know exactly who you are via your electronic device to confirm and to allow you to use the service, right? So we're already accustomed to that. Everybody has a cell phone pretty much. And so the next step is a subdermal microchip to do this. So there's a necessity during a health emergency to know where everybody is, to understand their medical history, at least to link back to a database to say, what is your history? Do you have a history of heart failure? Do you have a history of asthma, other complications? Do you, and what is your status with relation to the yellow cards in Ontario, where I lived? We had yellow cards, which as a child you got all your, each of your things listed on there for before you could go in school. You had, I don't know if that was required or not, but it would show everything that you got, in your arm, 30 years ago. So understand medical history. Confirm your identity. This is one of the big things. They have a hard time knowing who's who, because you can show up with a piece of paper, but anybody can print a piece of paper off, right, and fake it. And so they want everybody to move to QR codes or some other digital measure. Where I am, they now require QR codes. So you have to have a cell phone. A, you have to have a cell phone. B, you need to have this app and this QR code at least available, maybe not an app, but a QR code available to show before you go into restaurants. And if you can't confirm your identity, you're effectively deemed not medically fit. Where I am, currently the restrictions are I can't go into a sit-down restaurant. If I were to go up to a door, I would be deemed not medically fit to go into the restaurant and sit down and eat. I am locked out. I am locked out of the economy, at least as it relates to restaurants. It's not everywhere yet. I also have to have a passport to play hockey. And so I'm not doing that this year. I am deemed not medically fit to play hockey because I'm a danger to others, I guess. I'm a danger to others. I'm a danger to all those people who already are safe, which is interesting, right? I just read in the news, Colin Powell died of, complications. He died of the recent or the current issue happening. And he was double, so he wasn't one of these anti-whatevers, right? So health emergency, I think, is what the world government, the Antichrist figure, is going to use. This now, I think, is the most obvious, the most prominent The one that I expect really to be, because we've already had an example of it now, in not economic collapse. They're gonna use it for the economy and to reset the global currency as well. But the better, more, the one that's easier to push right now because we've just been conditioned for it, is to move to this mark because of a health emergency globally. Globally, this is going to occur. And so Revelation 13 is coming. It's not here yet, I don't believe. It will be here very soon. And I believe if you start hearing of another wave, then the governments of the world are going to start calling for some worldwide system to manage this. And this world leader is going to convince the world that he has solved the world's issues with this whatever. But if you don't have it, you're not going to be able to participate in the economy, in society. You're going to be very limited in what you can do. So that's an update to my Mark of the Beast videos that I've created in the past. I thought it came by way of the economy, and I think the economy, I think it's still going to be used as a great time to reset. But I think the reason for it, how they're going to implement it, is, I think, by way of a health emergency. I think we've seen it. I think we now see it coming, and we're very close to the deployment. I'm waiting to hear talk of a global system like this. I haven't quite heard enough rumblings yet, but I'm sure they're working on it, and this is what I'm listening for now. Pay attention. We're living in the last days. The Lord is coming. He died 2,000 years ago and rose again for my sin and your sin. He's coming soon to judge the world, but I believe there's a tribulation first. I don't believe we're raptured out of the tribulation the world puts upon us. I believe the wrath comes after the four horsemen of the apocalypse ride, because the four horsemen of the apocalypse aren't the wrath of God. If you look at verse 5, or seal 5 and 6, the saints are saying, "Where, O Lord, where are you? How come you're not coming to avenge our deaths, our martyrdom?" So the wrath of God has not come yet. I believe we're going to be here for the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and we will be witnesses during that time. When people ask, what's going on in the world? Why are so many things happening? La Palma volcano? Why are so many things happening? All the hurricanes, all the earthquakes, all the trouble in the world. What is going on? And we have the answer. People won't recognize it, but we have the answer. Folks, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Be prepared. I'll see you in the next video.